Alright, so I don't know about you guys, but this week has felt pretty slow in terms of A plus Virgin Wick Theory setups. Just like fewer cleaner ones, a bit more choppy, and yeah, it's been pretty tough for me as well. I've taken some B plus, even B minus trades. I think part of that comes to overconfidence after getting that payout as well. So I took some time to rewrite my whole journal template and my A plus checklist to make sure I only take the very best trades moving forwards. And yeah, today in this video, I'll share that exact A plus checklist that every single trade must go through. So if you've been forcing trades on quiet weeks like this week, this might help. Yeah, especially in a week like this where there hasn't been as many nice setups. It can be very easy to find yourself forcing yourself upon the market and just ruining all your progress that you've built up for several weeks. But yeah, here is my checklist. Don't worry, we'll go through every single aspect with many examples. But a quick note is that this is my personal A plus checklist. This is what I like to trade and what fits for my personality. I think that's very important. This might look different for everyone else. You might have different criteria that you consider A plus. And as the GOAT Bruce Lee once said, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. So maybe take this more as inspiration as opposed to like a very strict rule of criteria you need to follow. All right, so let's go through what the checklist actually looks like in relation to the model. So this is Virgin Wick Theory, a bullish example. So as you know, we wait for a Virgin Wick, which is an untouched wick, to get closed through, which then creates that bullish point of interest, right? Then we wait for price to trade below that POI into higher time frame FVGs, followed by a SysD or an IFVG. So firstly, we want to be within a kill zone. And as you may have seen, let me pull it up. In my trading Bible, I have the session times outlined. So this is one of the criteria for an A plus setup. You want to be trading within these session time zones. Otherwise, there's just lower volume and just a lower probability of winning your trade. Next one is POI is unused, meaning that the price has not bounced off the POI and taken out the draw on liquidity. Let me show you an example of that. There was one, give me a second. Ah, perfect, here, okay. Because I know the term POI's powers unused is a bit subjective. So we have this bullish point of interest to work with. This is the start of 10 p.m. candle. Immediately, we get a bounce off the POI and we take out this draw on liquidity. So that is what I consider the POI's powers used. So from this point onwards, even if we come back and engage the POI and we get an intramodal, I would not consider it because the powers have been used. And as you can see, we do get a SysD entry model, but it ends up failing. So that is what I mean. Next one is POI needs to be at least 10 minutes old, meaning we don't take trades in the first 10 minutes of a POI. It is just lower probability. But also the POI should be less than 2 hours old. So you can trade a POI in the first hour, and then in the second hour, that's an extended POI. Anything after that, it becomes lower probability. Aligned with 6-hour trend, what I mean by this is simply... So for example, we just look at this chart. With our CCT indicator by Master Chi, we can get a snapshot of what's happening on the 1 hour chart. So just look at the last 4 to 6 hours, and you just don't want to go, let's say it's a downtrend. I would consider this consolidating. It's not really a clear uptrend or downtrend. But let's say it's a downtrend, then you wouldn't want to take any long positions. That's all I mean. Similarly, if it's a... Okay, like this for example, this kind of looks like an uptrend to me. So I would be more cautious in taking shorts up here. That's what I mean by just aligning yourself with the 6 hour trend. Not too overextended past the POI. Yeah, so there was an example of that one just now, actually. Pretty much what I mean is, so here's your point of interest. Sure, you want price to trade into the POI, but you don't want it to go like all the way down so far, because at that point, you're just becoming bearish. Like, if it just keeps going down further and further without reversing, at some point you're just going to say, okay, this is looking really bearish. I don't think it's going to turn around. And there is a way you can mechanically measure that, and I'll show you. Okay. Yeah, so this one, for example. Okay, let me hide everything. So this is what I mean by overextended. So let's say we are here at the start of the hour. When is this? 8 p.m. candle, right? POI gets engaged almost immediately. And then we run really far away from the POI. Ideally, you want to see something like, bang, POI gets engaged, and then we reverse. Not like, bang, so far away, and then expect us to come all the way down. Shout out to Graham Warner for this one. But yeah, a mechanical way you can measure this is just go at the last swing high or swing low before the POI. So you use your fib retracement tool from the last swing point to the POI. And you don't want price to trade more than 0.5. So ignore the orange one. I'm talking about the black one. You don't want price to go past 0.5. So ideally, you'd want to see something like this. Bang. Like that. But as you can see, this one does end up going up here, and then you get a confirmed SysD here. Sorry, here. And you would have got it stopped out in like 2 candles. And then there's another SysD here, right about there. And you would not have hit TP, but you would have gotten out at break even. Oh, it looks like it hit actually. Nice. But yeah, not the cleanest trade. I wouldn't say that's A+. What else do we have? POI engaged, of course, that's pretty obvious. Higher time frame FVGs aligned with direction of trade. So like for this example, it's, you know, you want to see us tap into a bullish FVG, and you don't want to go against a bunch of opposing bearish FVGs. Valid entry model, so you want to see a strong IFVG or a strong CISD. What I mean by that is, I've actually got it in the Bible, so yeah, for the IFVG, these are built into the indicator, so you don't have to even think about it. Maximum 6 candles before inversion, minimum IFVG size of 0.1 ATR, and require liquidity sweep before printing an IFVG. And then with the CISD, change in state of delivery, I've just recently added this to the Bible. A strong CISD is one that closes through consecutive candles. Ideally, you don't want to see a weak single candle CISD. And you also want the candles to be big and strong. And you also want to see an FVG, if possible, created from the CISD. Like this one, for example. That candle leaves a giant FVG, so that's really strong. And it also closes through the wick of this. Oh no, it doesn't. Never mind. But yeah, you can have a look at this in your own time, and then you can use your own judgment as to whether a change in state of delivery is strong or weak. Okay, and then lastly, we just had a clear draw on liquidity. So yeah, so here is where your draw on liquidity would be. Oh, and lastly, you want to feel calm and patient before entering, because I feel like if you're not calm and patient and you're like greedy or fearful, that is going to cloud your judgment, and you're probably not going to follow the checklist properly. And it's probably not the best setup. And you may not, even if it is, you probably won't execute it properly. So, very important to be calm and patient before entering. So that's the whole checklist. I'll go through yesterday's trades through the lens of this checklist, so we can get a better understanding of how I grade different setups. Okay, so where am I? Okay, let's start with NQ. This is New York yesterday. Okay. So there were these two setups. Okay, let me get rid of everything. So we have a bullish point of interest to work with, because this bullish Chad candle closed through this Virgin wick. So POI gets engaged. Do we have high time frame FVGs? Yeah, okay, we have some bullish ones, but we also have some red ones up there. So not the cleanest, I would say. And we have a confirmed SysD right there. So there's where you would set your entry. Stop at these lows targeting 2R. But as I said before, we have some red FVGs here, so I don't like this. Okay, but let's just go through the checklist. Is it within kill zone? Yes. The POI is not being used. The POI is less than 2 hours, but more than 10 minutes. Yes. Aligned with the 6-hour trend. Yes, that looks like a small uptrend, so I'm happy to take longs there. Not too overextended past POI. Yes, we can just look at last major swing high. Yeah, that's close enough. POI engaged. I cannot take this one. High time frames are not aligned because we have some opposing ones. Is it a valid entry model? I would say this is like a medium size SysD. It is only single candle, but it's a pretty strong candle. But we kind of grind our way to it instead of going up in an aggressive manner. So it's like medium-ish, not strong, not weak. Clear draw on liquidity, yeah, I would say here, well, here and here. Yeah, so I would give this A minus, I'd say. Yeah, not A plus. And it does end up failing, of course. And then looks like you get a second shot. There is a confirmed IFVG here. Once it loads. Yep, so here's a confirmed inverse fair value gap. But same problem. We do not have higher time frame FVGs fully aligned with the direction of the trade. So that's still A minus. And at this point, we've extended pretty far beyond the POI. So that makes it even worse. So where is it? There. So pretty much how I grade it is if everything's ticked off, it's A plus. If one thing is missing, it's A minus. If two things are missing, it's B plus. Three things are missing, it's B minus. Yeah, and anything less than that, just what are you even doing? And as you can see, we end up dumping because we are already very overextended and we have a bunch of bearish FEGs. So hopefully you didn't take these ones. Hopefully you didn't force it. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, so let's have a look at this one. So this was 11 p.m. during Asia yesterday on NQ. Okay, so we have a bullish point of interest to work with, thanks to this bullish Chad candle. So POI gets engaged. We immediately have a change in state of delivery right there. And we have some higher time frame FEGs. So if I were to enter, it would be something like this. And let's have a look at our checklist. Okay, are we in the kill zone? Yes. POI is unused. Yes. POI is more than 10 minutes old. No, it is not. Okay, so that's not checked off. Are we aligned with the 6-hour trend? Yes. That looks like an uptrend to me. Not too overextended past POI? Yeah, nice. We are not. Let's go to the last swing point. Take our fib to the POI. And we don't want to see it go beyond this level. Perfect. POI engaged, high time frame FEGs aligned with direction, yes. Valid entry model, I would say that's a pretty weak SSD. Pretty weak. Single candle, not the biggest size, but we do close to it pretty aggressively. So it's decent, it's not strong. Clear drawn liquidity, yep, up here. Yeah, so I'd say this is A minus, maybe B plus, but it ends up going break even anyways because you would end up going break even once it hits 1R here, and then you get stopped out. And I believe there is another setup in the same hour. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this setup. Let's go back here. So we have a change in state of delivery here. So there is your confirmed SysD. It's a very strong SysD, in fact. All right, let's rank this setup. So we have within kill zone, yes. POI powers unused, yes. POI is more than 10 minutes old, yes. Alignment 6-hour trend, yes. Not too overextended past POI, yes. POI engaged, yes. Higher time frame FEGs aligned, yes. Because even though there's a 15-minute up here, by the time we reach it, we can already go break even. So I don't mind that at all. So I like that. And valid entry model, a strong IFVG or a strong SysD, yes. Why is it strong? Because we have these two big consecutive candles. So it's a lot of ground that we cover in order to change the state. And we do it in a pretty aggressive manner. It's not like we chop around for ages and then we close to it. So yeah, I like that. A plus, because yeah, there's a clear drawn liquidity as well. So this looks like a pretty clean setup to me. I would take this, but unfortunately, as I was watching this, price went to TP without ever tagging me in. I didn't want to mark it in here because it's too far from the SysD for my liking. So you just gotta let it go sometimes, and that's all right. What else do we have? I think that was it for NQ. Let's see if there's any on gold. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, so this is during New York session. Let's see. So we have a bullish point of interest to work with. Let's see if it gets engaged. Okay, POI, it gets engaged. Let's turn on our higher time frame FVGs. Okay, so we did get a bounce off it, but no entry model and no FVGs, so nothing there yet. Alright, now we tap into some higher time frame FVGs. And there is your SysD. Okay. Bang, changing state of delivery. Because this low got swept by this leg and these consecutive candles. Alright, let's rank this setup. Within kill zone, yes. POI powers unused, yes. As you can see, we did bounce off it, if you're wondering, but we did not end up taking the drawn liquidity. So I consider the powers still unused. POI is more than 10 minutes old but less than 2 hours old, yes. Aligned with 6-hour trend, yes, I would say so. Not too overextended past POI. Let's have a look at the last major swing high into the POI. So we don't want to see us drop below this 0.5 level, and we do dip below it a bit. So if we are to be extremely precise and mechanical, we are overextended past the POI, so I cannot check that off. POI gets engaged, yes. High time frame FVG is aligned, yes. There is a bearish one up here, but by the time we're there, we're so close to TP, it's fine. Valid entry model, yeah, I'd say it's a decent CISD. Clear drawn liquidity, yes. Yeah, so like my notes say here, I would say this is A minus just for the fact that we are quite overextended past the POI. Because at some point you just got to accept, okay, if we just keep going down, this is essentially just looking bearish. Yeah, but it ends up going break even anyways, so yeah, not the worst trade. Let's see what else we have. Okay, it looks like there's an A+ setup here that my past self marked up. Okay, so this is yesterday during London on gold. So, 2 a.m. we have a bearish point of interest to work with, because as you can see here, this bearish Chad candle closed through this virgin wick. Alright, hour starts. Let's see if POI gets engaged. Bang, POI gets engaged. We also tap into some higher time frame bearish FVGs. Oh, I remember a bunch of people were looking at this one on the Discord yesterday, actually. Some people got their take profit, some people didn't. This one was a close one, depends on how you played it. So we end up getting a... What am I looking at? Okay. And there is your SysD, yeah. Okay, so these highs got swept by this leg. You want to look at the highest up closing candle in that leg, so this one, and the opening price, so there's your SysD. So you can set your limit order here at the SysD level, put your stop at that high, targeting 2R. Alright, let's rank this setup. Are we within the kill zone? Yes, this is 2 a.m. London session. POI's powers unused, yes. POI is more than 10 minutes but less than 2 hours old, yes. Aligned with 6-hour trend. Let's zoom out. Yeah, it's consolidating, that's fine. We just don't want to see an uptrend. Yes. Not too overextended past POI. Yes. So we can get the last major swing point before we engage the POI. And look at the 0.5 level. So here. That is our limit for how far past we can go. And we're not even close, so really nice. Okay. POI gets engaged, yes. Higher time frame FVGs aligned, yes. I think there's a small green one in there, but it's overpowered by a bunch of red ones, so I'm happy with that. Valid SysD, yes. Clear draw on liquidity, yes. That looks A+ to me. Everything is checked off. So you get tagged in the next hour, sorry, next minute. And at this point you would go break even. And yeah, so you end up break even on this one, even though it's A+. But I think some people took profits at 1R, so yeah. Or if you have a tight stop loss, maybe you could have got 2R. Yeah. Nonetheless, I digress. That is an A+ setup. Yeah, I think that was it. That was all the examples I had. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what I consider A+. Maybe you have your own criteria. This is just a starting point. Maybe you don't agree with these. That's totally fine. I think the main lesson is to just have some sort of checklist that you can look at every trade and objectively assess yourself against. Are you taking the best trade that you can? For me, I'm trying to only take A+ or A- trades. Like if one thing is missing, I might consider it, but ideally you want everything to be checked off. Hope that was valuable. Hope you learned something. See you next time.